Well, again, thank you everybody for coming out. Our speaker today is Brooke Lenhoff, the Assistant Director here at the Focus Suites. Brooke has presented before several times, and so I'm going to let her take the floor and kind of give us an update on what she's been up to, and then I have some questions for her that I didn't share with her. So I don't think anything will surprise her too much, but I'll go ahead and let Brooke take the floor.
No. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
You had such a long commute.
I did. As Amy said, I'm Brooke, and I have presented at Perk Up Thursday several times. However, I've always been talking about the services that we have here or the coaching that we have here, and I've never told my story, though, how I landed here at SCC, and it was quite by accident. This was not what I set out to do as a child. This isn't what I thought I would do when I grew up. Well, I still don't quite know what I'm going to do when I grow up, but I definitely did not ever think I would have anything to do with entrepreneurship or small business ownership and that sort of thing. So a little bit about my background. I was raised in Wahoo, Nebraska, just about half an hour, 40 minutes north of here, between here and Omaha. At that time, it still is a smaller community, but at that time had about 2,000-ish people. And so it was a really small town. All of the kids that I graduated with, I knew from preschool or earlier. And so I had kind of a, how should I say it? Not sheltered, but I mean, I came from a small place. So like many of my classmates, when we graduated high school, we all went to the University of Nebraska in Lincoln. And when I started college, I started out undeclared because I just did not know what I wanted to do. And at that time, I felt like a huge loser. Many of my classmates knew what profession they were going to go into, and school had always come easily to me. I was on high honor roll and National Honor Society, all these things. But I did not know exactly what I wanted to do. So I started college undeclared. And by the end of that year, I had decided I was going to go into nursing. So I officially declared. I finished my pre-nursing at UNL. And then after you do that, then you go on to the couple of different places, UNMC or Creighton or some other institutes. And I was accepted into Creighton. So the summer, actually I think it was late July, right before I was going to finish my final year, I decided I was not going to be a nurse. And I had absolutely no idea why I didn't want to be a nurse. I just woke up one day and I just felt that this was just not my calling. And I thought, well, I have about 2 weeks before school starts. I need to come up with a new plan. And before I tell my mom any of this, I need to have something. So again, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I got online, found that I could call and register at Southeast Community College. And so that's what I did. And I registered in the business administration department. It was a focus in there. It was at that time called business information technology. Again, not what I intended to do, but I had to have a plan to tell my mom when I told her, oh, all this college you've paid for, I'm not going to use it. And here's what I'm going to do instead. So I started at SCC, and I really did not know how amazing the education here was. I had no idea. And so I quickly fell in love with SCC. I started working here not long after that, and I worked next door here in the continuing education department. And at that time, the college had had purchased the building that we're sitting in right now from Gallup, and they were doing a lot of renovation on it. And that interested me. I'd be sitting next door doing work and just keeping an eye on the renovation that was going on here. I was very interested in what was going on here. Tim Matan was hired as the director of the Entrepreneurship Center. And one day I was chatting with him and I said, I'm Brooke, I work next door. I kind of asked him, what this place was going to be about, and he told me, and I said, well, I'm really interested in working there. It was just him at the time. And so lo and behold, a couple months later, he contacts me and says that he was approved to hire an assistant. So I applied for that and got the job, and I started working here in February of 2007. And the center had opened the previous year in 2006, but it wasn't until early 2007 when we opened the Focus Suites, which at that time we called it our business incubator. I had zero experience in owning a business. I had zero experience in entrepreneurship. I didn't even know really what that meant. I remember practicing how to spell entrepreneurship before going into my interview with Tim. And you know what? It's just been the most rewarding experience I could have ever imagined. I'm so happy that I accidentally fell into this. Over the years, from our very first business that moved into the Focus Suites, I get to every single day watch people make their dreams come true. And I get to be a part of that, and it's so amazing, and I get to meet all of you. The doors that this experience has opened up for me, I'm just so thankful for. As an assistant, I got to do amazing things. I got to travel all over the United States, sharing our model with other schools and entities that wanted to do similar things that we were doing. I got to meet people from all around the world, and it's just been an incredible experience. That's my backstory.
Well, you talked a little bit, was a great segue. I didn't even plant that, but you talked about meeting people from over the country and the world. You had a recent opportunity to be part of the Visiting American Professionals. So would you like to tell the group a little bit about that and what kind of experience that was?
Yes, so this is a program, and it's a partnership through, and I don't want to butcher it, anybody that's watching this from there, but a partnership through an organization in Washington, D.C. called IREX, and then through the embassy, in the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. So this week I got to present to via Zoom to, I actually don't know how many people were on the call because I deliberately did not look down to see. They told me to expect anywhere from 500 to 1,200, so I have no idea if that's how many were on there. But I got to share our model of how we support entrepreneurs at Southeast Community College with however many people in Iraq through the U.S. Embassy. So that was an incredible experience. I feel like I'm just going to keep repeating this. Not something I ever thought I would do. And when I started working here, I didn't realize I had a fear of public speaking, to be honest with you. If you had asked me, am I afraid to speak in public, I would have said, oh no, I did drama in high school, I did dinner theater, I was in band and marching band and one act play and mock trial, so all of these things where you would have an audience. But apparently unscripted, I did have a fear of public speaking. So when I first started here, and Tim would, want me to speak about what we did or to even do a tour, give groups a tour of the center, I was so nervous. And so To go from being terrified to talk in front of 5 people to speaking with the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, a lot of people on the call were English speaking, but it was also translated in Kurdish and Arabic, and my PowerPoint was in Arabic. That was a big jump.
And also to add to that, this group also included higher education institutions in Iraq.
Yes, that's who.
So it's a great opportunity when Brooke told me about this, that you could share our story. Not share it just locally or within the United States, but internationally.
Yeah.
And I believe we had someone that's already contacted us that's a student that I saw that he had an email. So that was a great opportunity. So you've been with the Focus Suites from the very beginning, so 15 years.
Yes.
So what do you think are some of the biggest changes that have happened over those 15 years, and what do you see as some challenges that people have overcome, or that challenges are going to be in the future?
Oh, geez, yeah, you did not give me these. The changes. The changes in what we've done, or the changes in the businesses since we started?
I would say both.
Okay. Well, the changes in what we've done is when we started, we were making it up from scratch. I mean, the Tim and the research team that I was not a part of, this had happened prior to me starting here, they had traveled around the United States and gathered best practices from other institutions that had similar programs. So we had models to use to form our systems and processes and our the services that we're going to offer here. So we did have we had examples to use, but we also had to make it fit for the entrepreneurs in our area. And so a lot of it was just trial and error, and we did what we preach. We tried to find out what our business owners in this area needed from us. What services did they need? What jobs were they trying to get done? Problems they were trying to solve. And then we created products and services to try to meet those needs, tested it out. If it works, great, we keep going with it. If it doesn't work, then we go back to the drawing board. Same thing that we preach to all of the business owners that we work with. So in the very beginning, and for many years, we were just trying new ways of offering these services. Difference now is that we have 15 years of trial and error under our belts, and so a lot of our services and the things that we do here, of course, we are always trying to offer more and stay innovative, but I feel more like the businesses now have a very different experience with us than those early businesses. We kind of know a little bit more of how to offer these services within an educational institution, which is different than services that you can offer to the public outside of a college setting. So I'll say that's the biggest change for us. Biggest change in the businesses, I would say that early on we had a lot of earlier stage businesses, and definitely businesses that did not have employees, either because they were so new they didn't have employees at that time, or they just were businesses that didn't require employees. Their growth didn't require hiring employees. Now, we've found that businesses that are most successful in this environment aren't at those super initial stages, those untested businesses. The businesses that are most successful now have gotten past that idea stage. they have customers under their belt. They've had time to validate their idea. And so I think that's changed the type of businesses that are here, and definitely now the businesses in the Focus Suites have multiple employees working here in the suites, and so that's been a big change, I think. And it's changed for us too. We're used to working directly with the business owner. Now we have the business owner and their employees that we're getting to work with, which has been a really cool change. Really cool.
Absolutely. So you had said that when you initially came here that you didn't know much about entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with the spelling of it too. Thank goodness for Grammarly. But would you mind telling us a little bit about your own entrepreneurship journey and how you've delved in that area?
Yeah, so my husband and I, my husband's very entrepreneurial, and my top strength is activator. So the second he has an idea that I think is that I'm jazzed about, then I want to do it right away. So that works out really well because he is constantly wanting to try new things. He's a risk taker, and so through him, I've gotten to open 2 businesses. The first one we still have it. We've scaled it way back down. We only have a couple of clients that we serve now, and we use Google Ads to help generate leads for businesses. And so that we started in, we called that Lenhoff Leads. Started that in, oh gosh, I should have looked this up. I want to say 2016. And Brandon, my husband, his background is in financial services and insurance. And so then a couple of years ago, he branched out on his own. He had worked for big insurance companies here locally, branched out on his own, opened his own became an independent broker of insurance and financial services. And I'm laughing because, and Kat can relate to this, I've helped start many businesses, told business owners my advice and what they need to be doing. They would come with problems, and I'm like, oh, well, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that. And then who is the worst business owner who does not take their own advice? And Kat's experiencing that right now with her own business. So we also don't try to give your spouse business coaching advice unsolicited.
Good advice.
So long story short, a very successful business. I have the opportunity to pop in and out of helping with that business when I want to, and then when he doesn't need me, then I pop back out. So, but that's been a really interesting experience. It's totally different dynamic when you're a 2-income household. You know what your salary is, you know what your budget is, and then to go to a completely unpredictable situation, and it's worked out very well for us. It was very worth the risk, but that comes with challenges. In those early years, we had to make a lot of sacrifices, especially with time. He had to be gone a lot, and so we had to figure out how our household was going to run. We had to figure out how our relationship was going to work when we were used to being home with each other every day, and then now suddenly we would go long periods of time without seeing each other. So just things you learn along the way. You have to have really great communication. You have to have a plan. We rely a lot on our or electronic calendar. Some days I'd be like, oh, what state is Brandon in tonight? And but yeah, so it's been a really exciting journey. And then now after the pandemic, we had to completely change the model. And now he's primarily virtual, so he's at home every day, and that's an adjustment also to go back to that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the focus suites, actually this question was posed to me when I was in that seat. What do you see for the future of of organizations like the focus suites? Kind of what's your dream? What would you like to see?
My dream for us would be to have multi-use space. The space that we're in right now primarily is for businesses that do not need any type of shop space, any type of manufacturing space. It's a really traditional office space, and I would like to have more ability to work with businesses that have different space needs. We've talked about how we would really love to have a food truck that our Focus Suites businesses could use. Definitely a kitchen that we get asked that regularly if we have commercial kitchen space. I would love to have a space where people come to be creative. I don't really know what that means. I think that's whether it's art space or creative space. I'm not sure. I envision that a market that our physical building just doesn't allow for that. So that's what I see in the future.
Well, those were all the questions I had. Do you have anything else to add?
I don't know if I have anything else to add, but I'm happy to take questions. Jody.
Your favorite Lincoln business?
Oh gosh. How many times have I asked people this, and did I come up with one? Oh, the pressure. My favorite local business. Well, I feel like I'm just gonna be biased. Favorite local business. Why did I not think of an answer? I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay. Well, how about restaurant? Would that be easier? Or you like to?
No.
Okay.
Let me think on that. I'll come back to that.
Luke, question.
I got kind of a two-parter.
Okay.
Have you ever had to shoot down your husband's ideas or client's ideas? Like that?
Not really my husband's ideas, because normally when he has an idea, I know that he has already figured out a way in his mind for us to pay for it, and that's really the only if he can pay for it, then I'm game. My activator is like, yep, let's do that. Clients, yes, that's a different story. So I don't ever really tell a client that I think that their idea is too risky or that I think that they shouldn't do it. I like to just ask questions so that they can come to that conclusion themselves, because just because I am not seeing the big picture for it, or just because I'm seeing barriers, doesn't mean that it's not right for them or that they can't figure it out. And we all have different talents, and I'm seeing the situation through the lens of my talents, and so I always keep that in mind. But it's always about asking the right questions so that they can come to that conclusion for themselves.
And I've seen Brooke work in specifically those situations, and she does just exactly what she said, but then she also will put it back on the entrepreneur and to say, okay, we've talked about this, now this is in your court.
Mm-hmm.
Now you need to go and you need to do your research, and you need to talk to your customers, and that's kind of a wake-up call for some people, that they either go out and they do that, or if they don't do that, that is an indicator that maybe they're not prepared for that type of business. So it's really, it's not about telling them that that's not going to work. It's giving them the responsibility and the tools to be able to go out and say, oh yeah, this is not what I thought it would be. So a very tactful and you know, it helps them get to where they need to be too.
Definitely.
Well, I would like to make a comment. Having worked with Brooke for over 10 years, I've seen her go through a lot of personal changes and got to see her and Brandon get to know each other and get married and then build this fabulous business. But Brooke does many things well. And so I'd like for you to share your little side hustle hobby that she does that you wouldn't even think that she's doing anything, but she's doing a lot with her side hustles.
Oh goodness, okay. So side, total accidents. So the first one that Kat is a fan of is during the pandemic when we were at home, I was invited to a Facebook party for this nail polish product, and my friend was doing it, so I paid it. I mean, I mostly ignored the party, but then I bought it and fell in love, and I thought, oh gosh, I want to keep using this nail polish, and because at the time was not going to the salon like many other women, and so she talked me into selling it. I was like, I'm not selling it. I'm not trying to start anything. But but I said, oh, I'll host a party for you, because she had started to sell it. So long story short, I hosted the party. All of my friends went gaga over this, and it was just fun. At the time, I mean, this was in 2020. We all know how just weird things were at the time, and it just was fun. It was a fun thing to do with my girlfriends, and so I started a Facebook group for my little group of fans of this product, and had no idea if anybody was going to care about it. Well, yeah, we've just become this community. Oh, hello, Tim. I never intended to do anything with it other than I wanted my discount. And so I get my discount, but I get to have so much fun connecting with total strangers over the silliest of things, nail polish. And that has been an incredible experience, because I got to practice what we teach business owners to do, which is really to figure out who your customer is and what they want, what do they need, what do they want, what are they trying to do. And none of it really had anything to do with nail polish, come to find out. The majority of the women in my group stay in this group because they were missing that community, and so we became friends. Many of them at that time were struggling with anxiety and stress from COVID, and getting together virtually to just do self-care, that became a big topic for well over the first year that I did this. Was that over and over and over again, women thanked me that this gave them, 10 minutes, a half an hour to just focus on themselves, to do something that made them feel good. Many of us were working at home, and so you might not get up and get dressed to go to work, but these women told me, but I might be wearing my yoga pants all day, but my nails are done, and that gave them a sense of confidence or a sense of normalcy. Many people tell me they felt more polished. So this community just turned into something that I just did not even expect. And I definitely didn't expect it out of a direct sales environment. I had never done direct sales before. So that was a huge surprise and something that I'm so glad that I didn't talk myself out of. I'm glad that I just said yes, and I get to have this wonderful group of online.
How many Lux ladies are there now?
Oh, I think there's over 200 and some now, and
200.
yeah.
Just 200.
Just
200.
So that's the first one. Oh, Jody, yeah.
Well, and I appreciate how you have to use creative journals to be able to figure out what you're posting.
Yes, and that was another thing. It offered me the opportunity. I didn't really know much about social media algorithms, and so it gave me a really fun way to learn about marketing through social media and how and the challenges of that. Just when you think you have it figured out, then the next day nobody's seeing your posts because the algorithm has changed. So that's been really cool too. It's allowed me to test out a lot of different marketing techniques. It also got me really comfortable being on video and going live. And it gave me a fun way to do it. I mean, these ladies, they're already in love with the group, so it was a low pressure way to practice going live on social media, which is a skill that I think everybody should force themselves to do. Because then it allowed this week when I was live for people halfway across the world, I had the confidence to do so. So, passion project number 1. So from there, I had a passion project that I had been wanting to start for probably 5-6 years. And I am part of a co-parenting family. I'm a stepmom. And for a lot of years, my family and I in particular really, really struggled with just how to have relationships in a co-parenting situation. And I didn't really know how to navigate that. I didn't know how to navigate the feelings I was having, the frustrations I was having. So what I would do is I would journal about it, or I would write these blogs that I never published. And so after doing the nail group and I saw what you can do with social media, I thought, you know what, I want to put this out on social media and see if anybody cares. So I did on my birthday last year. I turned 39. That night, I'm like, I'm just gonna do this. I had no planning. I didn't know what it was gonna look like, but I knew the power of an online community through this nail group. So I threw together this group. I asked Lacey, who is my stepson's mom, I asked her, does she want to be a part of this with me? She absolutely did. So we launched it in October of last year, and now it's turned into, so that was a private group. Now it's turned into a public page. We have over 6,500 or maybe 6,800 now followers of this group, and from all over the world. And come to find out, yeah, there are many, many other families out there going through the same thing, having the same feelings and same struggles that we had. And that has been a huge learning lesson. Same thing, customer discovery, figuring out what do people care about, what do people need, what can you offer them, and then, all of those marketing skills and the algorithm skills came into play. Brandon's been a part of that project too, and so he's gotten to help me now. And so, yeah, did that answer your question?
John, did you have a question?
2 questions, 1 comment.
Okay.
Back when you were doing research, trying to figure things out, what are you doing today? Because it's an ever-evolving in terms of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
What research or outreach are you doing either in other communities or other countries to develop entrepreneurship here?
Yeah, so part of this Amy can answer too. So that's the outreach is her part of what she does. But so we're lucky now that we have all these years under us. We get to do research every day by people contacting us, asking for our services, coming in with their business ideas. And so on a daily and weekly basis, we get to have face-to-face contact with our potential customers. And just as much as they're here to get help from us, we gain insight into what our customers need just by meeting with clients every week. So that's
Beyond,
Mhm.
beyond just the potential customers.
Yep.
Other colleges.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Experiences that they had, or what routes are they taking?
Mhm.
New experiences. We're still doing some of that.
Yes.
More directly than you, but what kinds of experiences or research findings are you saying? The role of an entrepreneur is changing, because that was my second question, when you were talking about evolving into more entrepreneurial startups that have employees.
Mhm.
My question was why is that?
Mhm.
Are you still open to deal with the person that's just started out?
Yeah, so to go back to your first question, what are we doing to keep learning about what other people are doing? So we're, I would say that there are 3 main organizations that we're a part of, that is where we learn the bulk of what we know of what's going on within our state, within the country, and internationally too. So those organizations are, the first one is NetForce, Nebraska. So it's Nebraska Entrepreneurship Task Force. And that is a group of entrepreneurship resource providers, the community college system of Nebraska, universities across Nebraska. And we have been a part of that group since its inception in 2004, I believe. And that's a statewide initiative to share what we're doing across the state, share what we're learning, share what everybody's seeing out in the field. That's organization number 1. Number 2 is an organization called NACCE. It's the National Association of Community Colleges for Entrepreneurship. That's a national, and there are international members too. And I could go on for days about the wide range of institutions and centers that we have the opportunity to learn from and to share with. And then the international organization is INBIA, and that organization, also the membership has grown, but when we joined that, it was primarily for institutions that had business incubators. Their mission has expanded since then, but so to answer your question for that, that's how we keep abreast on what's happening in the world of entrepreneurship and what others are doing that we can learn from as well. Outreach, I'll let you answer that one.
Sure. So part of my job responsibilities is to get out into our 15 county area and meet with our learning center leaders, also leaders in economic development within our 15 county. And so I've been on the road a lot in the last month. And so just for example, came across some commonalities in some meetings that I had this week. I met with the economic development person of Seward County, and then also the economic development person in Nebraska City. And I asked them, what are some challenges that you're coming across? Top thing that they said was childcare.
Oh.
And they mentioned that there is a huge deficit between the amount of childcare facilities and the number of children that they can accept and the children that are of the age to go into childcare. And the person in Nebraska City told me a statistic that was a little bit scary, that there are 450 childcare aged children in their service area that should be going to a licensed daycare, but they are not. So they could be going to an unlicensed daycare, they could be staying home. There's a lot of different things that that situation could address. So to me, that provides, I'm writing down that how can we help facilitate new child care centers in these areas? How can we work with our child care development center and the graduates from that program and provide them an entrepreneurial mindset to go out to these rural areas and be able to start their own business? Because they will have clientele. Like, they don't have to worry about that those clients aren't out there. So I am just looking for data as I go out and I talk to people. But I also, there is a community college in Mason City, Iowa, Nyack, North Area Iowa Community College. They have an entrepreneurial center that was completely developed by and supported by a donor, and his name is John Papa John. Not from the Papa John pizza, but his name is Papa John. And he not only has set up that entrepreneurial center, but he has set up one in all 3 of the state universities. And what they do is absolutely amazing because they don't have to worry about money. Everything is funded for them. And so I think there's a lot of things that we can learn about that, about how we could be down the road. I feel like there's great opportunities for us to connect with alumni, local business owners that maybe want to see the entrepreneurial ecosystem grow in this area and also in our 15 county area. So NACY's great. They also provide grant opportunities for community colleges. And so when Brooke mentioned the food truck, that's kind of in the works right now, that we would maybe look for a grant to be able to have a food truck to be able to offer to our culinary students, people who want to go into the food truck business. So that's still in the initial stages, but there's just an immense opportunities out there to learn from people.
And my last thing was a comment. I still keep one foot in the corporate design of what does the office of the future look like. That's the time we've got. One of the key elements is, it's come out of court, this is probably not good, it's a collaborative office environment where it's a combination of live and in person, creating a collaborative space. I mean, you've got focus suites here that are used. If you look at your ideal for the future, what does that model look like? Is it a collaborative environment? Is it a space where you've got tables out there in the middle, that person needs to be able to help them, all sit down every once in a while and start brainstorming. Cultural environment. They're still building office buildings in Chicago. It's a whole different model. And I'm not picking on Chicago, it's important. It's happening here, it's happening in Melbourne. It's a combination of live here, Zoom, whatever it happens to be, environment. So as you're looking ahead for what does it look like, I hope you include some of those kind of thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. That so collaborate and collaboration, main words around here, along with focus, and that is, so right now we have a shared conference room that comes with your focus suites. We call it our collaboration room. Ideally, yes, we would love to have more spaces where that collaboration could happen. Interesting enough, like as you said, there are buildings that are office space that's still being built. Interesting, a comment that we have gotten over and over and over the years that we've been open has been the fact that although we don't have that co-working space here out in these open areas, is that the fact that we don't have that has been attractive to many of our customers, that having the private suites where they can come and focus, and not, they have that privacy to do so. Many of our clients say that when they come here, they feel real, which is where our tagline came from, do business for real. And then the privacy to shut their door and focus. And so I think it's a balance between being able to offer both of those types of spaces and work environments. And absolutely, just as we're doing now, having the in-person options and virtual options going forward, I think that that's just going to be standard. Maybe even alternative work hours and alternative workplaces, sometimes in office, sometimes at home. I think that that's just going to be pretty standard moving forward. Jeff?
Sort of on that note, I think it's sort of changed since I've been here, and what you find for efficiency and timing, it's you're stopping by to ask like a specific question. Mm-hmm. You're not like taking the time to sit down and talk for a lot of times, but it's just as beneficial because that question could have taken you hours
Yeah.
to go research. You can just take a cheat and so you'll see a quick email. So I think the collaborations is happening. It's just different.
It's different, yep. And when you moved in prior to COVID and prior to us meaning staff working from home, so you got like a little bit of kind of that environment before we all went home. It's changed, yep. Mm-hmm.
Significantly.
Yep, it has.
Brooke,
Yes.
can I comment?
Absolutely.
on that?
Absolutely.
Over the years, I understand about the collaboration, but a lot of those facilities have actually had to change their model. Part of it is because of the pandemic. But as you see the different types of forces work through those environments, meaning the people that are coming through, everybody has a different way of working. And in the early 2000s and the early teen thousands it was huge to have these working spaces where people could come in and talk and everything. But you're right, as things have progressed, people need their privacy, their quiet. And more of the spaces that were actually designed for collaboration have had to redesign their model in order to make sure that they can meet the needs of everybody that's now coming in. The pandemic has actually proven the fact that privacy is necessary.
Yep.
You have to have that space where it's closed off. You have to have the ability to get together, and we're now doing that like this.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
It's interesting that, oh, sorry, Tim, did you have something? I didn't mean to cut you.
No, you're good.
Brooke and I have both watched the docuseries We Work. It's on Apple TV. So it's about, and we laugh because it's a docuseries about a co-working space, true story, that was in the mid to like 2015, around there. And it could have been a phenomenon. Like, could have been amazing. But all the things that we tell business owners not to do, these business owners did. And in the end, it came down to they were so focused on what their vision was that they couldn't see what their shareholders needed.
Yep.
So a very interesting take on co-working space and how rapidly that grew during that time. And the attraction to that was, you had the ping pong tables, you had the keg, a beer, you had all of these different things. And so they were very successful, but their plan didn't follow through with their plan. So we reference that every once in a while. But that's something about the past of how the co-working space had been. Any other questions for Brooke?
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. And
Thank you for telling your story. Tim?
And I know that you probably talked about it before I got here. I just want to say congratulations for yesterday.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very proud.
I did tell the story about how when I started here, I couldn't talk in front of 5 people, as you pointed out to me.
So, congratulations on all that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Brooke, for sharing your story and telling us more about your side hustles. So there are plenty of treats and plenty of coffee left, so please help yourself, and please feel free to just stay and mingle and visit. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you.